Welcome. This monologue that I'm giving to you now comes from a concept which I presented in my book, Working with Suicidal Individuals. And in that book I have a chapter on what I call the suicidal ambivalence. What that means is it can be safely said, I think, that almost all suicidal individuals are ambivalent to some degree. And this is shown in the diagram behind me here with the ego states. In all suicidal people, one part of them wants to live and one part of them wants to die. So there we have the ambivalence. And what I will often do is present perhaps that diagram or the concept to the client to explain how this happens. It makes it more clear in that in this theory, the adapted child, or AC part of the personality, has urges and desires to end their own life. At the same time, they also have a free child, or FC part of the personality, which doesn't want to die. So we have these two opposing parts of the personality, if you like, these two opposing urges in the person. And that can be quite confusing to some people, because they can't understand how they would have these opposing views at the same time, when really that's not odd at all. People are ambivalent or have conflictual feelings about lots of things, but when it comes to something as serious as suicide, then people can have difficulty with that. So the first thing that I wish to present with this concept of suicidal ambivalence is that diagram, for instance, makes it very clear to the person what's going on, and that it's okay to have, or it's understandable to have conflictual feelings. And what this also means is that when a person seeks to plan or set about some process to suicide, the process is going to be half-hearted in one way. As you can say, almost all suicide attempts are half-hearted to some degree. What I mean by that is that whilst the adapted child side of the personality is setting about planning and then carrying out those plans to end one's life, at the same time the free child part of the personality is also there. And that part of the personality will be setting out to sabotage the plans, or make sure the process doesn't get completed or worked all the way through. So you have this sort of odd situation where there's one part of the personality planning to do something and another part of the personality sabotaging those plans. So it can seem to have a half-hearted quality. Now this can lead to some misinterpretation or misunderstanding of suicidal people, because those around them will see what has happened and may think that the person is just doing the suicide attempt to manipulate or get attention or something, because it was obvious from the plans they made that it wasn't going to be completed. That's unfortunate, because it may not be an attempt to manipulate or do something to those loved ones around them, but it's just this half-hearted quality. And in the statistics, the rates of attempts to completed suicides range anywhere from 1 to 20 to 1 to 100. So if you have a person setting about doing an activity where they have 1 in 40 tries are successful, that obviously is not a very high success rate. And this can lead people to think that suicidal people are being manipulative, when in fact they're not. It's simply reflecting that they have these conflictual parts in the personality. Now, leading on from that, of course, what one can do is set up a two-chair situation. That is, you have 2 chairs out there in front of the client, and one representing the AC, or adapted child, and one representing the FC, or free child. And indeed the client can then go and sit in one of the chairs, for instance for the free child, and speak from that part of their personality. And they'll talk about what the part of them that wants to live, what it has to say, what it's feeling, and so forth. So both the client and the counsellor get a good understanding of this aspect of the personality, because the person can sit there and be it. So you can see the body language and so forth. Then of course the person can switch over into the adapted child chair and do the same process is carried out. That is, a person speaks from that part of the aspect of the personality where they want to die or end their life for whatever reasons they have. So again, the counsellor and the client get a experiential understanding of this part of the personality. They're not just being asked to think or say what they think that part would be. They're asked to actually be that part of the personality and talk. This has a number of advantages. The first one being that it's a good assessment of the level of risk that a person is currently at. In that if they're sitting in the free child chair and there's a lot of animation and a lot of things to be said and so forth, and then they sit in the adapted child chair and there's not much energy, or they're not talking all that much, then you can see that the free child aspect of the personality is more dominant at this period of time. And of course this exercise can be done many times over, and they'll wax and wane. The energy from being in the free child to the adapted child chair will change over time. And indeed you can sometimes put percentages on it. Sometimes it might be 50-50, or 70 free child and 30 adapted child and so forth. But the advantage of this is it not only gives the client and the therapist an understanding of those two aspects of the personality, but also where the person is heading in terms of the potency or the energy in the personality, those two aspects of the personality, and where that is at that point in time, thus giving some understanding of the level of risk that the person is currently at. So that's all I want to say at this time about suicidal ambivalence and what I have presented in my book. Thank you for your time.